is there a game that comes to your memory beyond the Caruana one that you would be like really proud to share to our audience?
Oh, okay. I was thinking to share actually a loss that I had. It was a very interesting loss, and I used it before in one of my high school lessons as a lesson on like how to beat Coach Kyle. And what's
Awesome.
special about it was it's not just a loss, but I got absolutely destroyed in like 15 moves. And my opponent played with 100% accuracy according to chess.com. And I suspect it was almost all home preparation. I just got wiped off the board.
I'm eager to see this one. And thank you also for being willing to share one of your learns.
All right. So I was playing white here. It's an online game. So they play a line in the Scandinavian where they want to take back with the knight instead of the pawn.
Okay. And the time control of this game, was it looks like a 10-minute match?
Yeah, it was a rapid game.
So 10 minutes each side for the whole game?
Yeah. And so here, usually they take back with the knight, but my opponent instead played bishop out here. And here I decided, usually it's not a good idea to be greedy and hold on to the pawn with like c4. But here, now that I have a pawn on d4, I started to get greedy. I thought about, I'll try holding on to my extra pawn. And they play e6 here.
So what we have going on right here is basically your opponent playing the dark pieces has given up a pawn. And in exchange for being behind a pawn, your opponent has developed more of their pieces from the back row, trying to build an attack, I would assume, as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And so here they played e6, and surprise, surprise, they sacrificed a second pawn. They don't recapture that. Yeah.
And so even allowing you to take the pawn with check, forcing your king a little bit into the open.
Yeah. So here I'm 2 pawns up. It turns out here is a blunder. From here, black is starting to be better because they're just have such a lead in development.
Wow.
Okay, hold on to the pawn. This check is really unpleasant. Yeah, I have to play king up myself. And then here starts a brilliant combination. They take, and Elliott, if you can find the best move for black here, I'll be very impressed. It's the first
move that comes to my mind is actually knight g4 check.
Close. There's a way you can set it up first. And this brilliant move, bishop c2. Yeah, so
that did not cross my mind in the least.
So
it's trying to draw the queen away from the pawn in the middle. Right. Because then
yeah, I can't take because the queen comes here. I think rook here is next, and they just come crashing through. But what's so brilliant about it is the obvious move. I just don't take, right? And what's so great about this bishop here? Like,
and now the knight g4.
Yeah, now knight g4.
So the reason knight g4 check came to my mind, if you back up a turn here, was simply I realized that it's all about attacking this king, which is in the open space, and every turn's going to count.
Yeah.
So the king's going to try to retreat to f2. So I wanted to take it away, drawing the pawn away so that I could play the queen g5 check and keep the king in the open. But I certainly had not seen quickly that bishop c2 first. That is just that is brilliant.
Yeah. So this is the skewer. He comes back, rook comes over. I can't hold on to my queen anymore. The bishop guards
lost
all these squares.
Wow.
And then I resigned shortly. And
that's
they only
amazing.
spend about
with mate and 1 right here, right? With queen g4 check, mate.
And they only spend about a minute on this game.
So obviously preparation.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So thank you for being willing to share a favorite game and even choosing to show a loss, right? And I want to really point that out a sec here, because many times when we're working with young students, and at Chess for Life, we work with a lot of even, at-risk youth and other ones, sometimes there's this fear of failure, right? And so therefore they're not unwilling to share their weakness, shall we say, because it's this fear. And that's one of the things that I love about the game, that mindset of, we win, draw, and we learn. Like you said, there's the pain of losing, and it is a personal thing and having to learn to get through that.